Iron Mike Tyson versus Smokin Joe Frazier. If you ever wanted to see a battle, this would have been one of them. This would have been a barn burner. I wanted to make this a short, but it's just impossible. There's just too much in this one to be a short. So if you guys want to see more of these fantasy matchups in long format style, let me know. But let's get on to this thing. I'm going to start with Smokin Joe Frazier. This guy's 32, 4-1, 27 KOs, 3 stoppage defeats. There's definitely many things worth noting going into this fight when it comes to Smokin Joe Frazier. I mean, legendary status. He's got wins over guys like Jimmy Ellis, Oscar Benavena, Muhammad Ali, Jerry Corey. When you talk about Joe Frazier, you got to talk about a master of the bob and weave style. This guy perfected it to a T. He was one of the first to do it so well, the way he did it. The way he would come up with that left hook. He was known as a master of the left hook. Devastating, vicious punch. This guy had relentless pressure. He'd keep coming, keep coming. He had a warrior spirit, a never quit, never say die attitude, even in defeat. Let's talk about his defeats to a thudding power puncher known as one of the heaviest punchers of all time, George Foreman. The reason I want to bring up Joe Frazier's defeats is because I think this factors in. He had the never say die attitude, even in defeat. Every time he was put down by Foreman, and I believe in the first fight it was 4 or 5 times, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe Frazier popped back up. He always got back up. He always kept coming, putting on the pressure. Even when defeat was imminent, he didn't give up. He finished the fight on his feet. So even in his stoppage losses, this man was not flat on his back. He always got up, even later in his career in the rematch against Foreman. When you talk about Frazier, got to bring up his greatest win of all, and that's the first fight against Muhammad Ali. He put Muhammad Ali down late in the fight. He did take a W in this fight. The rematch, another epic battle. Could have went either way. And then the third fight, Thriller in Manila, you guys might have heard about it. It just demonstrates who Joe Frazier was in the ring. Out of the ring, he was an outstanding guy, but his character was, in a promotional campaign against him when he was fighting Muhammad Ali, his character was kind of tarnished. But the truth of the matter was, he was the role model. Smokin Joe Frazier was around 6 feet tall, 5'11", 6 feet. I think they list him at 6 feet, around 225 to 230 pounds. Now, brings me to Iron Mike Tyson. You guys have all heard the name. Even if you're younger, you heard the name. I was fortunate enough to see him fight live later in his career, but I did see many of his early fights on video. I actually had that awesome DVD where it's got like 20-something of his fights on there, maybe. I can't remember how many. An ESPN DVD from back in the day. Mike Tyson, one of the most feared fighters of the era. They had him listed anywhere from 5'10 to 6 feet. So I would say 5'10 or 5'11. Probably around 220 pounds. But this guy was a master of a similar style, and that was the side-to-side slipping style. And just like Smokin Joe Frazier would set up that big left hook, Mike Tyson would set up some big punches, some big digging punches off this style. It was designed for that. It was designed to get in and rip some vicious power shots. And that's what Mike Tyson did. He knocked out a lot of guys, especially early in his career. He knocked them out early. He was feared. And it's worth mentioning, he did obliterate, and I say that respectfully as I can, but he pretty much starched Smokin Joe Frazier's son, Marvis Frazier, early on in his career. He ran through him. It was a quick fight. I believe it was only 1 round or 2 rounds. I think it was 1 round. But Marvis was different than his father in there. He wasn't exactly the same. A different fighter. Mike Tyson's got wins against guys like James Tillis, Michael Spinks. Became the youngest heavyweight champion against Trevor Berbick with that vicious knockout. You got to look up the Peter McNeely fight. I mean, this guy just had some vicious wins. He took a legendary L to Buster Douglas. And he lost to some guys later in his career like Danny Williams. He took his losses against Evander Holyfield. As you guys know, he took Holyfield's ear. Literally. Here's something I'm going to take into account, and it's not going to determine who wins this fight. But Tyson, when he took his losses, there was a few of his losses, but later in his career, where he took those L's, those stoppages on his butt, he kind of gave up in those fights. And that's not knocking because he was a warrior in there. I know his last fight that he retired after against Kevin McBride, he finished that fight on his butt. But Mike Tyson, he won so many of his fights before he even got in the ring. Guys were scared of him. And you could see it. They couldn't hide it. A lot of them tried to. But once they got in the ring and they felt that power, and that's what they say, it was just a different thing, that power. And I have to take that into consideration going into this matchup. And Tyson did, at times, throw shorter and tighter punches, but not all the time, but some of the time, than Smokin Joe did. And I think explosiveness, Tyson definitely takes the advantage going into this fight when it comes to explosiveness and power, and probably a little bit speed as well. All right, this brings me to the fight itself. I think we see the bell ring, Iron Mike and Smokin Joe. They meet in the center of the ring, but sometimes Joe has to get smoking to get going. Sometimes he doesn't start too fast. I see Tyson putting the pressure on early in the fight. I see two guys meeting in the middle, trading punches. Smokin Joe trying to dodge as many of those punches as he can with that bobbing and weaving style. Tyson manages to land that crushing left to the body downstairs with a big left hook upstairs. He hurts Smokin Joe early in the fight. First round, late first round, Smokin Joe falls to his knees, and then the count begins. And Smokin Joe, he's knocked down for the count. First round, he gets back up just like he did against the crushing power of George Foreman. Mike Tyson is surprised. Joe Frazier, he's not in survival mode. He meets fire with fire, and he meets Tyson right back in the center of the ring. They go to their corners. Smokin Joe knows he's in for a fight, but he's got the fire in his eyes. Mike Tyson knows what he needs to do, and he's going to jump on his guy. The next round starts up. Same thing. Both guys meet in the center of the ring. And then again in the second round, Mike Tyson manages just to get on the inside of Joe Frazier's left hook and throw his own left hook just a little tighter. And he follows it up with a right hand, and he puts down Smokin Joe for the second time. But Smokin Joe in the second round gets back up, and he starts applying the pressure again, bobbing and weaving, trying to dodge as many shots as he can, trying to adjust slightly, but still applying the pressure. The end of the second round, and Tyson can't believe it. Rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These guys are trading back and forth. It's a fast-paced fight. Smokin Joe Frazier, he's behind on all the scorecards, and he finally picks up a round. Round 8, Mike Tyson eats a big, vicious left hook, and this time, he feels it. Smokin Joe Frazier follows it up with a volley of punches, puts Mike Tyson down, but Tyson gets back up, and at this point, the crowd can feel something special happening. The tide's turning. Tyson has a look of confusion in his eyes, and he's starting to crumble to the unrelenting pressure. Smokin Joe Frazier in his corner. Now, there's a new fire lit under his and he's ready to go. Rounds 9, 10, 11. Mike Tyson is starting to crumble. He's starting to stand in front of his guy. He no longer has his explosiveness. He's more stationary, similar to the way he was in front of Buster Douglas. Smokin Joe has a second wind from the era of 15-round fights. He's slightly bigger, and he's starting to put on the pressure. He's wearing down Mike. Now it's the 12th round. Smokin Joe continues to put on the pressure. He takes the 12th round. Now the fight is closer, but Tyson's still ahead on the scorecards in round 12. But it's round 13, guys. I'm going there. These two men meet in the center of the ring. But again, Tyson has lost his explosiveness. He's lost that viciousness. He's not demanding the same respect. Tyson, now he looks more human. He's in waters. He's in deep waters that he's never experienced before. And in round 13, late in the round, Smokin Joe Frazier bobs underneath the right hand with one of the most vicious left hooks ever landed in the sport of boxing. He puts Mike Tyson down. Tyson sits in the corner against the ropes, tired, confused, defeated, in deeper waters than he's ever been. And he decides that he's not going to beat the count. Smokin Joe Frazier, round 13, down on the scorecards, pulls off a late 13 round KO victory. In this fight, Joe Frazier was down on all scorecards. He faced insurmountable odds. It seemed like an impossible task early on in the fight because of Tyson's slightly less ability to will himself forward in the fight. Just a little less of a warrior spirit. One of the greatest warrior spirits and war attitudes in boxing history. Smokin Joe Frazier pushed on. He endured. Unrelenting pressure was enough for him to get the job done. Now, to be honest and be fair, maybe if these guys met in the ring 10 times, maybe some of the times it would go one way, some of the times it would go the other way. I can't tell exactly how many times, but that's how it went this time. And this is going to be a controversial one, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I had fun with this one. This is one I think about from time to time, and it's a really tough one. It really is. So I hope you guys come back for more. If you enjoy this type of video or this style, let me know in the comment section, and maybe I'll keep doing these fantasy matchups because I know fighting.